Booktube, Science Fiction Reads here with a currently and recently read and of course a book haul, what I've bought over the last 2-ish weeks, something like that. Recently I of course finished, well, a couple weeks now, The Rediscovery of Man by Cordwainer Smith, which was awesome. I still have the novel Nostralia, which is currently in the mail on its way. But that's all I have left in the instrumentality universe, which is sad. But I have a feeling I'll be rereading these every couple of years. Then I read The Ice People by René Barjavel, which is, well, was at the time a very popular French science fiction book. And it was kind of a letdown. It wasn't quite what I anticipated. It's about a scientific expedition in Antarctica that comes across some old civilization with two people in suspended animation who, of course, it can be brought back to life or woken up, have all sorts of knowledge from their superior society. But it wasn't quite what I expected, and really annoyingly, the scientist kept mentioning, like, we know these people are from 900,000 years ago, but we don't know how that's possible. It doesn't match with, you know, the fossil record of, you know, all the various species discovered and our evolution and everything. And they never explain it. These people do come from a civilization almost 1 million years old, but it's never explained what they're doing. I assumed maybe they're from the future living in the past, but they never explained it. And it has a good but sad ending, but it wasn't quite what I expected. Currently, more than halfway through recently released short story collection by Alistair Reynolds, Belladonna Nights. This is from Subterranean Press. I think there's, yeah, 1,500 copies. So I scooped that up as soon as it was released, and I'm a decent way through. And they're pretty much what I expect. Like, I love Reynolds. His short stories are kind of the opposite of his novels, where his novels have a reputation of not having great endings. I always enjoy the way he ends short stories. He might be my favorite short story author. I hadn't really thought about that until just now. All right, I haven't done a lot of reading recently, so that's where I'm at with that. But I do have quite the decent little handful of books here. I just got these today for $5 a piece. These are from the Folio Society. This is kind of like the history of the Vikings. These books are expensive as hell. I have 3 Empires of Early Latin America. Those cost me about $100 last year. There's the Aztecs, the Maya, and the Incas, so it's a 3-book set. So I got these, just somebody getting rid of some books, $5 each. So that's the Vikings. The other one is the Celts. I mean, they're super beautiful. Awesome books. I've been eyeing the Aztec one for a couple months now because I'm really interested in the Aztec culture. Okay, on to the SF. So this is a series I know very little about. The Rings of the Masters by Jack Chalker, in this first book, Lords of the Middle Dark. I think this is kind of post-apocalypse, kind of a computer governing society, and a couple rebels or something from different parts of the world, different cultures, who are trying to overpower this computer and kind of reclaim the world for themselves. The last one is Masks of the Martyrs. Although I don't know if this is the full series. I haven't looked it up yet, so there could be more to this series, but I got all 4 here, and they're in pretty decent shape. I don't think I've read any Jack Chalker. I have a decent amount of his books, and I have 1 or 2 of those already boxed up, but I couldn't remember which. Here's some stuff I've never heard of. Helm by Stephen Gould. This is takes place on a colony planet, low-tech civilization, but they have some technology that imparts information and knowledge from, from the human culture they came from, and something to do with stealing that technology or the technology falling into the wrong hands, and so the wrong people have all this knowledge, maybe something like that. Again, a bunch of these I got from the same person, and they all seem very obscure. Not the Jack Chalkers, but the next couple. Simon R. Green, Deathstalker. This is some sort of space opera, and that's all I know. It's a multi-book series, and I only have the first. W. Michael Gear, Star Strike. This is a first contact novel where an alien or alien civilization recruits some humans under duress, it's kind of against their will, to fight a war for it or attack some sort of space station for it. And the different members of this human team have to learn to get along with themselves before they can work together, I guess. Something like that. Yeah, people from different opposing factions on Earth who are scooped up and sent on a mission together for this alien intelligence. I pretty much bought it for the cover because it's really nice wraparound art. I don't think I've read any Michael Gear, but I do have a growing collection of his books, some from the Spider series and others. Here's a beat-up paperback of Ian M. Banks' Matter, which I'm going to use to replace my nice hardcover edition because I've got all the Culture novels in paperback except for Matter and Hydrogen Sonata, which are both hardcover, and I want to get rid of them so I can have them all on the shelf together. So it's in rough shape, but I'd rather have this than a hardcover that doesn't even fit on the shelf with the rest. The Iron Dragon's Daughter by Michael Swanwick. I have read Michael Swanwick's Vacuum Flowers, which was a cyberpunk, which I loved. This is more a fantasy, but maybe steampunkish. I'm gonna say steampunkish fantasy. It involves a girl and an iron, like a literal mechanical dragon. And ironically, just last night, I watched an episode of Love, Death, and Robots from the newest season, and I think maybe the third episode is a Swanwick story, and it's the best I've seen so far on this newer season. It was really good. I might even have that short story in a collection. I'm hoping I do. If not, I want to find it. It was called The Very Pulse of the Machine, I think, and it was good. So I recommend watching those. And one of my favorite authors, Neil Asher, has 2 episodes in this season, which both were good. David Gerald, Space Skimmer. This is, I think, an early-ish space opera from the sounds of what I read on the back. I haven't read anything by him, but I saw someone talking about him recently. Maybe the Outlaw Bookseller, and I just came across this book of his, so I picked it up. Here's probably my favorite find. This is really cool. Gildan Fire by Stephen R. Donaldson. This is, as far as I know, it's maybe one chapter, maybe a little more than that, from one of the books in his first Thomas Covenant trilogy. I think maybe it was from the second book, I can't remember, but it was cut to make the book shorter. And so I've read the first 2 trilogies. I have no intention of reading the fourth 4 books because I've never heard anybody have a good word about it. And the second trilogy was hard to get through. Even the first. It's a controversial series and main character, let's say. But this is really neat. This is from the 80s, and it's a hardcover with some illustrations, and it's just like the chapter or 2 that they cut from the book. So that's neat. That'll be a quick read. All right, I have 3 from Lynn Carter. Looks like they're all from the same series, maybe not in the same or in the correct order, but I have Black Legion of Callisto, which is such an appealing book. I mean, the purple and the pink and then the teal text block that's awesome. Really cool. I think this is, could you call this space opera? It's kind of, this has got to be from the 70s. Yeah, 72. Black Legion of Callisto. Sky Pirates of Callisto. These are in pretty decent shape considering their age. Really nice cover art. I've not read anything by Lynn Carter, but I have some of his books, and the impression I get is science fantasy, maybe. Look at that. Really neat. Jandar of Callisto, who I think is the main character in these books, Jandar. Here's one which was recommended by Seth, someone who comments and watches my videos. The Color of Distance by Amy Thompson. This is an out-of-print book that he suggested. Well, it was his recommendation for books that are really good and not well known, and since it's out of print, that kind of explains it. It's hard to get, hard to find. But this is about, I believe, a biologist of some sort, or some sort of scientist who's left behind on a planet she was studying and really has no choice but to adapt, I think on a cellular level, with the locals, the local alien civilization, which I don't think is too high-tech or advanced. It just sounded really appealing. I did manage to find probably the cheapest copy on the internet. It just sounded like it might be similar to Sue Burke's Semiosis, just science fiction with a heavy focus on biology on alien worlds. So this is high on my TBR. I might read it after the Alistair Reynolds short story collection. Some Philip Jose Farmer, The Lavalite World, also in great shape considering its age, and Behind the Walls of Terra. Now I can't remember if these are both from the same series, the World of Tear series. Yeah, they are. So I think I have 3 of those now. Originally, I wanted to get all of his Riverworld books and all of these and read them, both series complete. But in an earlier video, I mentioned I only got 2 books into the Riverworld series, and it wasn't what I was expecting. I will get back to it, but maybe I'll try this series once I track down the others. And Algis Bergeries, The Amsers and the Iron Throne. This is not one I've ever heard of. I haven't even really read the back, so I don't know. I don't know what this is about. And I mean, you can't pass up cover art like that. Here's a paperback copy of Novelettes of Science Fiction. As you can see, it's got a lot of big names there. This just came in a box, I think. These are a couple different hauls. One of these was just a box of science fiction for 20 bucks. But again, this is in good shape, and it's got Simak, Anderson, James Blish, Arthur C. Clarke. All right, here's something I've never heard of that looked kind of neat, but I would not be surprised if it's no good at all. It's these 5 books in the Exordium series by Sherwood Smith and Dave Throwbridge. The first one is The Phoenix in Flight. This just appealed to me because it's all 5 of them for cheap, and it's some sort of space opera, but I've never heard of the series. I haven't heard of either author. But wouldn't it be nice if I started reading it and actually enjoyed it, and I had 5 whole novels to read through? That'd be nice. They do have nice wraparound cover art too. Now, I got these the other day, and I did look up roughly what they're about, but I've already mostly forgotten. I just know it's some space opera goodness. And these two little guys appear on 2 or 3 of these in the cover art. It looks like it's not my thing. And I know you're probably agreeing, but we'll see. Jeffrey A. Carver, From a Changeling Star. I don't know much about this, but it is a hard science fiction, which appeals to me. And I believe it involves 2 different factions or political factions studying the star Betelgeuse? Betelgeuse? I can't remember the name. You know the star I'm talking about, probably. Studying it because it is about to go nova. And I think it's kind of about how the 2 factions are against each other, but the scientists on both factions are like, we're going to work together anyways because this is important, because science rocks. Jeffrey A. Carver sounds familiar, but I definitely don't have anything by him, and I have not read him. But I wouldn't be surprised if there's something else of his that's more popular than this that I've heard of somewhere. All right, 2 more authors to go. C.S. Friedman, Black Sun Rising. This is an author I've read one of her books, in Conquest Born, which I've mentioned before, and some people commented that, yeah, she rocks, you should get her other stuff, and Crown of Shadows. So I must have 6 or 7 of her books now, and I do look forward to reading anything by her. I want to read in Conquest Born again because it was so good, and it did have I think it had a loosely connected sequel, which I don't yet own, I don't think. All right, last but not least, we've got 3 by Larry Niven, A Hole in Space. I recently started picking up more Larry Niven. I've read a few of his things, but I'm starting to get really interested in his future history, of course, No in Space universe, which I've not read much of. I've read Ringworld and whatnot. Here's A Gift from Earth. I believe 1 or 2 of these are from the No in Space universe. And Neutron Star, which is a collection of short stories, but I also have another collection of his short stories on its way in the mail, the name of which I cannot remember. Yeah, the other Larry Niven I have on its way in the mail is Crashlander, which all features stories involving Beowulf Schaefer, I think his name is. And I came across someone on BookTube talking about those specific stories, and when I saw they were all collected in one book, I decided to buy it because I figured that'd be a good introduction to No in Space and Larry Niven in general, even though I've read some of his stuff already. As always, thanks for watching, thanks for commenting, I really do appreciate it, and I'll see you next time.